my central argument, that the bridge between Pakistan and India can only be built by the love and the peace which is propounded by the Sufi culture. Now please understand, I am not an Islamic scholar as such, but I have reasonable understanding about my religion and its various major elements. Now in the subcontinent, there were largely three streams: the Deobandi, which is relatively hardline, the Barelvi, and the Sufi, and other than the other traditional forms of Islam. With the coming in of Wahhabism, the Deobandis and the Wahhabis married together principally and created the widespread culture in Pakistan, which is the culture of intolerance, which goes against the very grain of Islam and certainly of Sufism. And that is where Pakistan is very nervous about the revival of the Sufi links between Pakistan and India. The second point is that Pakistan has a dubious track record for trying to nail Indians, and if Mr. Pirzada has his way, every Indian would be a raw agent, which would make 1/6 of the world raw agents, which makes India having the multiply largest intelligence agency in the world. So quite clearly, he's talking through his hat, though he's not wearing one. And finally, and most importantly, please understand that Pakistan is very nervous about India wanting to engage with the other elements in Pakistani society, which have been given to understand that in India, Islam is non-existent. In India, Islam is not tolerated by India's secular credentials and culture. And the moment that gets established, then it becomes a problem for Pakistan to justify their own creation. This was a question that was raised at independence, that why create a secular Pakistan when Jinnah Sahib gave his first speech? Because if you create a secular Pakistan, then why have a Pakistan?
Absolutely.
Because there already existed a secular India.
Absolutely.
And Sufi saints and Sufi traditions justify the secular credentials of India, which goes averse to Pakistani narrative today.
Absolutely. Pirzada, Mr.